welcome everyone. In this video we are going to see some interesting tactic endgames. This is the first position. We are starting with an easy one. White plays and wins here. We have a pin over here, and also there are some interesting things on this file. So the first move here will be rook d1. The queen has nothing special to do. Black can exchange, but then we have this in-between move. Rook takes check. The king has to move, and pawn takes queen. White plays and gets a draw. Black has two extra pawns, so it seems like they are about to win. However, there is a tactic idea here that is going to allow white to get a draw on this position. The right move, using the stalemate idea, rook takes c3. If rook doesn't take, well, then white will play rook c6 and will take the other pawn. And after rook takes, then this is a stalemate position. White king is not in check, and it doesn't really have any square to go. So this is a stalemate, and this is a draw. White plays and gets a draw. They have an extra queen facing a rook, but white is about to lose the queen because of the pin here, and as black has this passed pawn, this should be winning for black if nothing special happens. However, there is a move for white that is going to give them a draw. The right move, king h4, again using the stalemate idea. If black doesn't take the queen, then the queen will be very strong and white will be winning the endgame. So they should take the queen, and this is a stalemate. White doesn't have a legal move right now, and white king is not in check. White plays and wins. They have a knight and two pawns facing a black queen. However, there is a tactic idea, something we might have seen before, and white is going to win using that idea. The first move, this fork, e7. Black can take either with queen or king. After king takes, then knight c6, taking the queen and winning with this pawn. And after queen takes, then knight g6, and white is winning with this f2 pawn. And this is a good one. White plays and gets a draw in this position. Black is threatening right now checkmate in one move in some different ways. Black is threatening rook h6, or maybe queen h6, or maybe queen h7. So it's a very complicated position for white. Also, black has an extra rook here, but white has some amazing move here, stopping all checkmates and creating some stalemate ideas. The right move, queen f6. It is stopping all checkmate ideas, is threatening black rook, and is creating some important stalemate positions here. For example, after a move like king h7, then white can just play queen takes queen, and black can take either with king or rook, and this will be a stalemate anyway. And the best for the end, white plays and wins in this position. As you can see, white has two extra pawns here, but they have a problem with the rook here. It's very passive, and white cannot move the rook because of the pawn. So it's not clear how to maneuver here to win. After a plan bringing the king to g6, so white can move the rook, then black will have so many checks over here, and white king won't have a good place to block those checks. So it's not easy to find a way to win. We need to analyze this basic position to understand what's happening in that endgame. In this position, black king cannot move out of these squares, because if, for example, black king goes to here, then white can play something like this, threatening to promote, and black cannot capture because of rook a7. And also black king cannot go up, because then white will have a check and will be promoting in the next move. So as I said, black king cannot move out of these squares if they don't want to lose the endgame, but they can control this pawn, keeping black king here on a7. So if white has a rook or a knight pawn, then this will be a draw, because black king will be able to block the passed pawn on the queen side and keep the king in one of the squares I mentioned. And also this rook will be very active always, and this rook will be always very passive, so the endgame will be a draw. For example, after something like this, black just keeps moving the rook, and there's nothing white can do to win this endgame. In some point, when white king is too close and white will be threatening to move the rook, then black can do some checks and white king will have to come back. But the question is, what happens if instead of a rook or a knight pawn, we have a bishop pawn? Well, in this situation, this is going to be winning, because black won't be able to keep the king in one of these squares and at the same time control the bishop pawn. So this endgame is winning after c5, maybe rook here, and c6. Then this is a problem for black. If rook takes, then white rook moves and this pawn is promoting, and if king anywhere, this is winning. So I think now we are better prepared to analyze and understand this endgame and find the right idea here. The first move for white in this position, a5. The idea is to create a bishop passed pawn, and as we already know, that could be winning for white. After pawn takes, then c5 and rook h6, c6, and now black king won't be able to keep the king on a or b7, or black rook will have to go out of this file, and then it will be very good for white, and they will be promoted. After king, let's say king here, then rook a8, threatening to promote, and rook check. So these are the endgames I wanted to show you today. If you would like that I continue making more videos like this one, give me likes so I can know it, and I will do some other videos like this. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you in some other video.